So this is a little video on how to either make a copy or a shortcut to a Google file, in this case slides, um, that has been shared with you. So in my workshops, I think, give out a link to the slides that I'm using as my sort of presentation. And I share that link in the chat in Zoom, and you click on that link and your browser will open up and it will show you my slides. In order to make a copy or a shortcut, you do need to be logged into your Google account, and I highly recommend doing that. You can see here that I have my Drive open, and that's ultimately what you want to have open, but you can go to drive.google.com and then log in there, and then your Drive will be there. And what we want to do today is make sure that we are, I'm going to say saving, but it's not exactly saving, saving the link or the access to these slides in a way that I can easily get back to. So when the slides are open, the first time you do this, you're going to notice at the very top that you have the name of the file and the star, the little, this is a little icon that looks kind of like the Google Drive icon with a little plus sign there. And as I scroll over it, you'll see it actually allows you to make a shortcut right from there. And this lets you know that it's been updated or that it's been saved recently. And the starring is basically a favoriting tool. So if you wanted to put this into your favorites, you could do that as well. When I go to my Drive, there are some automatic buckets here. I call them buckets. They're folders. You can make as many folders as you want, but there are some that are set up for you by default. So you will always have shared with me, which is anything that has been shared with you, which means anything that you've opened that someone has sent you a link to. So if I click on shared with me now, oh, it's not showing. Yeah, so you might have to refresh. That's what I did just now. There's a little button up here that you can use to refresh where that X is. So now you can see that from today, and this is a file I opened. It was created by lac@gmail.com, and this is indeed the file that I just clicked on the link to. So anytime you click on a link to a Google document, within a few seconds or moments from that click, it's going to be showing up in your shared with me. By default, this is set up chronologically, so it's by the shared date. I can switch that to the opposite way, but that's really all I can do. So it's not a great, it is not the most efficient way to get back to documents that you've previously opened. It's a great backup. So if you don't do the things I'm going to say now, you can come back here and look for things. But it's not an efficient way to plan to get back to content. Another folder that's automatic is recent. And again, this is a document that I've just opened up, so it's going to be at the top. And again, this is a great backup, but if I have opened lots of Google documents, then this file is going to end up going quite far down and hard to find. So again, great backups shared with me and recent, but not things that you really control and are not very efficient ways to get back to content. Starred can be an efficient way. What I usually use for starred are things that I need to get back to often, or a project I'm working on a lot right now, and I want to be able to get to it very easily. The key here is that you also want to then unstar things as they become less important. I don't, if I was at a workshop and someone gave me a link to their slides, I wouldn't favorite them necessarily unless it's something I'm really working on right now. I would more likely put it into a folder that I could easily get back to because I'm going to call it something that I can get back to. So we'll look at that in a second. Another way that people sometimes save, again in quotation marks, access to this file would be to favorite it up here. So right now we're looking at this in a Chrome browser, and most browsers have this ability somewhere in them where you can make a bookmark. So to bookmark a online website, resource, whatever, you can click on this little star and you'll be given the option of organizing it the way you want to. That can work, but it's a very, you want to really, it's not a lot of space, or it becomes very tricky to manage over time. So I don't use this for things unless I'm really coming back to them, like, once a month, and I need to really check the schedule or this is a spreadsheet that I use to do something with. That's a great thing to do a bookmark to, but not really someone's slides generally. Again, there's no rule, but for efficiency's sake, we want to get a little bit more organized than that. It's sort of, if you think about the paper office, right? You have a filing cabinet, you have a bulletin board, you have your desk, and you decide what kinds of documents you put where. So we're going to talk a little bit about folders today, like a filing cabinet. I would say the bookmarks are kind of like your bulletin board, and you could say those recent things are kind of on your desk, so they just get piled on top of. So we're not going to do that. We're going to let that go. Okay, so those are all things that are happening either automatically or things that you can make happen. In fact, I need to undo that bookmark. I will remove it. Okay, and I can tell that it's bookmarked because that star becomes a solid color when it's bookmarked. Okay, so we have three main options when someone gives you access to a document, a Google file. We can see them over here under File. So we have 4 tabs here. This is in Google Slides. We have the option of making a copy. We can also download this document, so it's no longer in the cloud. It's no longer accessed through the browser. It would actually be sitting on your computer or wherever you save your documents to. And we also have the add shortcut to Drive. And when someone shares a link to something for you, this is a decision point for you. What is the goal here? What is the purpose of accessing this content? When someone's sharing a slides presentation with you, generally it is the meat and potatoes of the presentation. Everyone's seeing the same set of slides. And the presenter may go in after the fact and update those slides. So having access to the live version of the slides is actually very useful. If they were sharing with you a PDF document that is sort of set in stone, like it's a done deal, no one's coming back to edit it, it's a worksheet that everyone's going to work on their own version of it, but it's again a set document, nothing that's going to be changed later, then that's a really good document either to make a copy of or download, right? It's a snapshot in time, but it's of something that's probably not going to change, or for the purposes of the work that you're doing, the version you have now is perfectly fine. So that's the thought in my mind, right? Is this something that I'm going to go in and actually work on independently, and I have my own version of it that is a snapshot in time from the moment I made the copy or the downloaded it? Or is it something that's maybe a living document that might be updated and changed? Slides are a great example of when that's often true, that the slides may be updated. So instead of making a copy or downloading it, I'm going to recommend that we make a shortcut. As I mentioned, so you can do the shortcut here, but the first time you get a link or you open up a link, you will see this is a shortcut to the shortcut. So we can go ahead and click on that. After I've done that once, you'll see it goes away. And instead, there'll be a little folder icon here, which will tell you where the shortcut is. So the first time, we're going to go ahead and use this. If you are looking at your own content that you created, here someone else created the content, shared a link with you, you'll see the shortcut icon up there. If this is my own document that I created, you will not see that shortcut option there. You can still make shortcuts, but you're going to have to do it under the file. Okay, so we're going to use this one. We're going to click on it. So now we have to decide where are we putting the shortcut. And the shortcut acts just like a file. So it's going to have the little icon and there's going to be a name there. but we want to put it somewhere that's easy to come back to. And you may not be using your Google Drive very much, and it might be very easy to just see it sitting there out in the open. But again, if we go back to that idea of, your desk, your filing cabinet, we don't want to just put a bunch of like separate pages into our filing cabinet. We actually want to organize a folder system where we can put our papers in there and more easily find them. So we're going to make a folder because we don't have a folder already for this content. When I clicked the make a shortcut, it brought up this dialog box, and Google's always trying to help you. So the first thing you're going to see are their suggestions for where you might want to put this. And that once you've made the folder, that's where the folder might show up. So that's good to check out. Is there something here where this shortcut is a good fit? But because I know we don't have a folder yet for it, I'm not even going to pay attention to that. I also don't care about starred right now, but again, if you have a folder in starred, that's a shortcut to getting to the shortcut. That's fine too. But generally, this first time around, we're going to be ending up in the all locations. And all locations show me my main big giant buckets, right? So shared with me, my computer. In my case, I have a shared drive. You probably don't. That's if you're using a sort of enterprise level Google. And then my drive. My drive is actually where we want to go. And we're going to go all the way over to this little sideways arrow, click on that, and it's going to show me all the folders that already exist in my drive. So again, if you do have a folder and you want to find it, this is one way to get there. As I said, we don't have a folder yet. So we're going to go down to this little icon here in the bottom left corner and make a new folder. And we're going to call this digital skills. So I'm calling it digital skills because I think I'm going to be putting additional things in there. So this slideshow will go in there, but maybe I'm going to go to some other workshops. I have some other documents I know I want to organize. So I'm just going to call it digital skills. I'm going to go ahead and click create, but that name should be whatever makes sense for you. It could be Nell's slides. It could be the dates, whatever or whatever technique you want to use. So again, going back to the thought of how you use your filing cabinet, do you have a file that's called digital skills, or is it a file that's specifically workshops in October, whatever it is you want it to be. Now, very important, you've made the folder, but now you actually have to tell it to put the shortcut in the folder. So you're not done yet. You have to make sure now that you click on the add. Sometimes people forget that and you have the folder now, but you don't have the shortcut in there. So we're going to double check. We're going to go back to our drive and my drive, and we're going to see if we can find that folder. So again, it's going to be set up alphabetically. You can reverse that sorting here. You can change the last modified, but that often is a little bit of a blunt instrument. So generally I keep it alphabetical, and I'm going to scroll down, and sure enough, I see let me refresh and see. So again, this is that little symbol for refreshing. There it is. So now we have digital skills. Sorry, here it is. So my internet's just a little wanky today. So this stuff should all happen kind of very, very quickly. But if you don't see the folder, refresh it. I see digital skills here. I actually see that it was made by me, and I see today's time, the time and today's date. So I'm going to open that up. And sure enough, there is my shortcut to that slideshow. Okay. I know it's a shortcut because I see that it's the file icon. This is the Google Slides icon, but with that little arrow. That tells me that it's a shortcut. If the arrow is not there, then it's the actual document. Okay. So I know that I put it in there. And now when I come back here, as I mentioned, the little icon is gone and has been replaced by this folder icon. And if I click on the folder icon, it's going to show me where this shortcut is. If I add additional shortcuts, so you can have more than one shortcut to the same file. There's reasons you may want to. So right now I have a folder called digital skills. Maybe I also want it to be easily available to me in a folder for my ESL classes on Tuesdays. So maybe I have a folder called ESL Tuesday. I'm going to also put a shortcut in there so that I don't have to keep coming out of my folders to get back to this sort of central document. But the point here is that digital skills is in there. I can double check it here. I double checked it from my digital skills in my drive. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that so I just know it's there. So this is no longer a way for me to make a shortcut. If I do want to make that second shortcut I just mentioned, I would go to File, and you'll see the wording has changed. It now says add another shortcut to Drive. So that lets me know that I have at least one. If I click on add another shortcut, this time I don't need to make a folder. It lets me know that I already have one in case I'm forgetting that I have that. That's fine. Here I click continue. And now I'm back to those options again. So either suggested folders, start all allocations. And I'm going to say that I really want to have this available to me when I'm working in my Fifth Avenue Committee FY25 folder. So this folder exists. I was just in it. Google knows that. It's putting it in the suggested area. I'm going to click on that. And I can just click add. I don't have to do anything more. So I click add. So now when I go back here and I go back to my drive and I go to the Fifth Avenue Committee folder, and again, my internet's just a little slow, so I'm going to refresh. There it is. So just remember that you have that refresh option up there if you're not seeing it immediately. So there it is. And when I go back to my slides, do you think in this folder now it's going to show me both? Let's see. So if I click on this folder, and because again, there's a little bit of a delay, let's do a refresh. So now if I click on that little folder, it is showing me both. So this way I can track where do I have the shortcuts. If I really want to make another one, if it makes sense, I easily can see here where it is. Now, it might be that you have decided you don't need that shortcut anymore. As with any content that you have in your drive, you can, they call it, so if I right click on that, I have the option of moving it to trash. So if I move it to trash, it's gone, it's not here anymore. And you'll notice if I come back here and I'm going to just refresh out of caution, when I click on that little folder, it's going to only show the one place because it's been deleted from the other one. And if I really want to delete it, I can go down to my trash and I can empty my trash. And now it's 100% gone. That's not a necessary step. It will automatically be deleted after 30 days, but just if you want to be very clear. Also, shortcuts don't take up memory. So if you create content in Google, you'll see that it's being taken out of your memory. But if something is made by somebody else and they're sharing it with you and you've opened it, it doesn't take any memory. And if you make a shortcut, it doesn't take any memory. So this is just a way, it's like a door into their house. You just get to look at it from there. If you download it, it'll come onto your computer. And if you made a copy, then it will take memory. And it's just like you have your own document there and you'll become the creator of the document as well. Okay, so that is a very intensive process that I've taken you through as far as why you would do it. But the basic steps are either you're going to see the icon up there or you're going to find it under File and you're going to make a shortcut. And that way, when I make my changes to these slides after our presentation, when you come back, you will always see the most recent version. You don't have to do any other work, but it will just sit there. If I, as the creator of the content, decide to delete this, it will go into my trash. You will still have access to it until it is fully deleted. So you'll get a little note that says the person has put this in the trash, and you can pull it out, and that's a good time to make a copy because you can be pretty sure it's not going to change after that. Okay, that is how you make a shortcut.